I love you guys.
Dance off, bro. I have the high ground. Expecto Patronum.
39 days. 1 people. 1. Survive. Tribe of Nerds.
Oh. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds for our third reality after show episode. Sarah, Kevin, and I are going to be talking about Joker 2 this week. Again, subscribe to our main channel, subscribe to Reality After Show so you don't miss anything, but let's get into Joker 2. Oh boy, what a movie.
Let's not get into Joker 2. Let's stay out of it. Like, it's
I was not aware that this was a musical going into it, so I was a bit of a shock.
that was a problem for a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
but also, like, was it a good musical?
No. That's my answer to that.
Yeah, she's great. She's a great musician. She's a great actor. I just don't think it worked out here. You know what I mean? I don't think it worked out. Love her, but damn, girl.
Yeah, well, so she didn't get much. I'm sure we're gonna get into it right here, but like a lot of her scenes were cut out of the movie. Like there's scenes of her and Joaquin Phoenix doing like the Joker dance on like the steps of the courthouse.
Yes.
Like,
It's like, that's like on the
See
poster,
that being filmed, like they had posted that in the news, like on the court. So why cut that? That is preposterous to me. That just makes no sense.
I don't know. And then like she was in the Harley Quinn-esque like comic costume for like 2 minutes in the movie, which I'm sure was a lot longer, but they cut almost all of that out. So she literally walks in that costume, sits down for like 2 minutes for Joker to be, or for Arthur to be like, I'm no longer the Joker, and then she leaves. So
I feel like this is very reminiscent of like Pirates 3, where it was just kind of like all thrown together. They just filmed a bunch of shit and then just chopped it and tried to make a story.
this movie is definitely chopped to bits. Like,
Yeah. With only showing that outfit for 2 minutes, like I can understand, like, oh, it's like a callback. Hey, you get it, you see the thing, right? But like for only 2 minutes, like that outfit is iconic. So like, you're not gonna do more with that? Yeah, strange, weird flex, but okay.
yeah, it's just, and her singing for the music was the best part of it because no offense to Joaquin Phoenix, but I don't think he can carry a tune.
listen, I can't like hate on other people for being tone deaf because
I can't sing either.
They literally would not let you supply your voice for that Mandy Moore CD, so they made you just do hand claps. So we know.
Yeah. No, I just like I can't sing either, but at the same time, if you're gonna have this be a musical and you have your two leads, I feel like you want Joaquin to be just as good as Lady Gaga, and he just wasn't.
You want an even stage. Yeah, you want them both to complement each other. And I just feel like, in the singing parts, there was just a disconnect that you were like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah,
right. Like the musical aspect of it just seems like the director had an idea, but like, and like maybe it was a good idea in theory, but like, was it going to work for this movie? And like, where was someone to tell him no? Like,
yeah, I feel like he took acid one time and like sleep and then had a bunch of weird dreams, and this is what he came up with. And he was like, we'll figure it out. Like every time they said cut and they were like, well, wait, we didn't. He's like, we'll figure it out.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah. Well, so I wanted to go through like the few good things, and then we'll get into more of the bad stuff. But the good things, again, I will say the limited screen time she had, Lady Gaga was great in this movie. And then Joaquin Phoenix, aside from the singing, like at least he gave a good performance for what they wanted for the movie. So I can't say anything against that. So performances are definitely the best part of this movie, for sure, in my opinion. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. Joaquin Phoenix, he's an amazing actor. You know what I mean? There's no denying that. It's just with this movie, it's just like, it's like you're waiting for it to get better. Like, what's the next? Is it gonna get better? And it's like I just feel like it's just tone deaf, like the whole time. Like there's nothing that pulls me in, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I can't say anything bad about Joaquin Phoenix, except for like, bro, protect your character. Like, this is like,
True.
this was your $1 billion movie. Like, protect your character. Like, we see other actors do that with their characters. So, like, I will give him a little bit of shit for that. But like, why does he care about what I have to say? That's fine.
Yeah.
He also sucks in some other ways that we've found out since the movie. But whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But like, whatever. No, I mean, obviously, like, no, it's Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga is the standout performer and like part of the movie. And like the idea that like they could have flipped this, and like, because the main thing with him and Harley is that like he's abusive towards Harley, and like that's why she's crazy. But like to kind of flip that, like the concept of that,
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
like the idea that like she's the one who like manipulates and abuses him, like
Yes.
there's a really great idea there.
Yes.
They didn't do enough with it, but that idea is great.
Yes, yeah, the idea was great. They just didn't do, it was like they just went halfway through the scene and was like, all right, let's do the next one. Like they just started moving cameras and sets, and the actors are like, wait, what? Like I completely I agree with that, and I hate that I do.
I love when you admit that I'm right.
I didn't say you were right. I said I agree with you.
Yeah, what Kevin's alluding to with Joaquin Phoenix, with also at the things we found out in the last couple of weeks, that he left another movie like 2 weeks before it was set to begin.
So he just recently walked away from a movie that was I think it was 2 weeks away from filming, and like they had already spent money on it, like tons of money, like sets are built, like things are like, people have been contracted, things are done, and he just walked away and refused to do it, and there was no way to replace him. And I guess like it was his idea, but like he walked away from it anyway. And there's like a lot of rumors that it was because it was an LGBTQ story, and like he didn't want to do some of the scenes. So that's like the rumor. So that was already not great. But then we found out too that he also walked away from Split the same way, like right before, and then James McAvoy took over that role.
Oh,
and
I didn't even know that.
Yes. So like this is so now we see that this is like a pattern of his, of just like walking away at the last minute, and it was just that this time he couldn't be replaced.
Yeah,
Yikes.
that's intense. Yeah, no, you do that a couple times and it definitely will follow you. Yeah, he can't be out here doing the J.K. Rowling thing, hating on the gays, because it's not. We don't do that.
It's the weirdest thing, because he didn't say that, but that just became like the internet rumor, and like.
And that shit will follow you. That's too bad.
He never corrected that record, right? It's not like he came out after and was like, actually, no, I had this family emergency, or like he said nothing.
Yeah, and
so you're kind of like.
Yeah, we see drama with like other YouTube content creators, and like when they get into like big drama, they'll either like make a bunch of apology videos or address it, or otherwise, you know, they'll just stay silent and say nothing. And it's like both of them can be good, bad. You're gonna get shit for either one you do. So like, but in this instance where it's like, it's not like, oh yeah, I know I walked away because I had a family emergency. Like I believe he should clarify, like, no, it has nothing to do with the LGBTQs. Like, you know what I mean? That does deserve clarification, because we're a huge community, so don't fuck with us.
Especially the lesbians, they stay angry.
Right, I've got drills and sawzalls, and I've got garbage bags.
The other good thing, and it is kind of going to bring up a negative with it, but the opening scene with the Looney Tunes animation. So I was telling Kevin this off air beforehand, but as soon as like the Looney Tunes like logo style came up, I'm like, this feels like this is Warner Brothers putting their IPs on.
I was like, are we watching Space Jam right now?
Yeah, it just was very odd. So I didn't like it for that reason, but then I'm like, it was animated well, and like the whole thing is like the Joker is like the shadow of Arthur and like stealing everything from him, and you know, I get what it's trying to say, but I just didn't like the fact that we've known
Like
Warner Brothers does this with a lot of their IPs. Like the new Space Jam was literally just all Warner Brothers stuff like filled into that movie instead of
just nonstop callback, just like, hey, remember this, remember this, remember this. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, and it's also weird to me too, because there are so many iconic animated versions of the Joker that like a different type of animation just like isn't interest. It's like, I don't know, it's weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, just get like the Mark Hamill Joker style, like get that kind of animation style, and instead they wanted to just
Like, this is before your time.
Animation. Like so when we were kids, I mean, not you, Kevin, obviously.
Right, I was already an adult then.
No, you've been a senior citizen since like 2002. Yeah. But like we also don't know, like with their shitty editing, like there could have been more animation or more context to that we just didn't get. Like I really just feel like the final cut of this film was just like thrown together. Like they should, I don't know how many focus groups they had, but they should have focused harder, because this is not it.
Yeah. Well, with that, let's get into all the negatives, and just like my biggest thing, what I said on my Facebook written review. This movie, I mean, both movies have just made me feel uncomfortable. Like it's just very dark and uncomfortable movies, but this one especially. I mean, I can't really just, I don't like the way what it says about mental health, and just like how it basically, without going too much. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So it just,
I mean, you can glorify it in a way that is also representative, and you can shine a light on it to, hey, you may be this, or somebody you know might be like this, and this is how you affect people, and like this is how you can, counteract it, or this is how you could help yourself, or watch me get over it, kind of thing. When you're just kind of showing someone being abused all the time, it is not helpful. You know what I mean? Especially in this age where mental illness is such a big thing and everyone needs to be paying attention to it. Yeah, glorifying it is very touching.
One of like the big things of like now of like this our current time is like mental health. Like having a mental health concern does not mean you are violent. Having a mental health condition does not mean you are going to kill people. And like, that seems to be, I mean, maybe if you're a dirty pirate hooker, yes, but like for the rest of us, so like it also seems irresponsible. And I have an issue with that.
Because a lot of these things, I mean, who are going to watch these? Us. We're going to see them with our kids. You know what I mean? So like,
well, I mean,
introduce them to this and have you fall in love with some guy.
You may take your kids because you're a pirate, but this is not a child's movie.
No, I got the question of whether I should recommend it for kids, and I said, or teenagers. No, I said, please do not take your teenager to see this movie.
Yeah, I would let my oldest watch Deadpool over watching this for sure.
Yeah, I mean, at least Deadpool does it in a way that's fun.
Right.
Deadpool is violent. Some parents don't. They just let their kids do anything. So some kids might end up seeing this. You know what I mean? And like, it could have a negative effect on like them long term. You know?
Yeah. Well, to that, and as much as I said Deadpool is fun, I still wouldn't take my kids to see Deadpool either. And I saw, when I went to rewatch it the second time, took my dad because he hadn't seen it yet, and I saw a dad bring in his like 2 5-year-olds into Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like,
I mean, you can do whatever you want with your kids. They ain't my kids, but just believe I'm judging you, bitch.
Yeah, why are you doing this?
But yeah, like Deadpool. The way that it is presented is very like cartoonish and not real.
Yes.
Right. Like, like it's violent and it's gory and like it should be disturbing for children, but also like if you're a child who like is not bothered by that, like I think it's pretty clear. Like when he's whipping around the metal bones of Wolverine's skeleton, and then the claws are getting stuck in the guy's butt. Like it's ridiculous, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
like, is this the same? Does this have that same sort of ridiculousness, or does it kind of?
Exactly. And
No.
if you're watching like a movie like Deadpool like that, so like from this, you're gonna remember like Lady Gaga and Joe or whoever, like they were all the bad things, but like if you watch Deadpool from a child's mind, you're gonna remember, oh, butt, hand stuck on butt. You're gonna remember cool flips, cool bye 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 song. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Right.
the way it's written, it's like a kid you could watch it, but the things they're gonna remember aren't gonna damage them long term, like watching something like this.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean this movie literally just talks so much about, shows so much of Joker getting abused, both like physically, even sexually. Like literally the guards are literally abusing him multiple ways. They literally basically pressure him into kissing one of his inmates, and then as soon as this inmate is continuing to be unrally, they end up killing that inmate. So right in earshot of Joker, so like, or Arthur. But so I don't know, it's just very uncomfortable to watch. So
Pretty bad when Jake says something makes him uncomfortable.
yeah. And so then just in general, the producers not caring about the Joker, I just feel like they don't care at all about this character.
It's crazy to me because I know you weren't a big fan of the first one, but like there were things in the first one that I like really identified with, right? Like when he says like, if that was me, you would have walked right over my body,
Mhm.
right? Like that disenfranchised, just like
Yeah.
we've let the elites just like make us into nothing. Like there's an idea there, and there's something there that's like, yeah, I have also felt like a nobody sometimes, and like, yeah, like there's something there, but this seemed to like flush it all down the toilet. Like where did that go? Where was like Arthur wasn't anymore like standing up for himself and being like, I'm not doing this anymore. It's just like him being abused.
Yeah,
And then being like,
exactly.
no, I don't want to be the Joker.
Yeah, and like the fact is, I was trying to get other people on here. Like I was talking to Josh and Gabe and Will, and they all hadn't seen it. And Josh literally told me that like he's the biggest DC fan. We know this, DC and Marvel, but mostly DC. And he literally told me, no, I'm not going to see that. I basically saying like he was mad that they didn't care about this at all and really ruining one of his favorite characters. And just like, I'm like, if you're gonna make Josh, the guy who loves DC and these characters, like really mad that he's not gonna see this, I think they've completely screwed up.
Don't be Josh and Josh. He ain't playing that.
So yeah, like I said to you before, Jake, too, like, so spoiler alert for the end, LOL. Arthur deciding he no longer wants to be the Joker, right? He gets shanked by one of his like Joker followers, and that person cuts their face, and it is apparently the new Joker, right? And like,
This isn't the Santa Claus. You just get to, you don't get to do that. What the fuck? That's stupid.
You got to wear the smile like the coat.
Charlie and the reindeer. Like, what the fuck?
but like, there's something there. There's something to that, right? About like this thing grows beyond his control. Like there's something that, but like they made it so like he's like a victim in someone else's thing, instead of giving him any sort of agency, instead of giving him any sort of like if he had like fully embraced being the Joker, and he creates this following, and then like that following overtakes him, like,
yeah,
that's something. But instead, from just be like, no, I don't want this anymore, and then to kill him anyway is very like just taking away all of that character's
exactly.
Yeah,
I guess an agency. Like, so he's just a victim in his own story, which is like not an entertaining thing to watch.
Yeah. From a new movie standpoint, yeah, I just feel like what were you doing this entire, like, what were you doing? I just feel like it was this the whole time. There was no arc, there was no depth, there was nothing that wanted me to, like, I need more, you know?
Right. Right. And then that brings me to like the court case is not even that interesting because it's so one-sided that like, okay, Arthur's literally, I mean, he's basically gonna get his whole defense like fired so he can defend himself, represent himself. And at that point, like we know he's done because he literally does not care. And he's
Yeah. Defending yourself has only ever worked in My Cousin Vinny, so I do not recommend doing.
But also, like, okay, this is 2 comic book properties now that like don't know how to do courtroom stuff. Like, why are you writing courtroom scenes if you don't understand how courtrooms work? Like, it bothers me so much. Like, no judge would allow him to defend himself and be in the courtroom in full Joker makeup. That wouldn't happen.
basically like then this court case devolves into then you get this Gary Puddles from the first one, the little guy, and this is a very uncomfortable thing of like he's understandably like terrified because he literally just watched Joker in the first one literally murder someone in front of him.
Yes.
And
People
so
don't forget.
It's Jonny Fairplay, reality TV icon, Survivor Hall of Famer, and I'm talking today about Work Money. Work Money is a non-profit organization that focuses on lowering costs and raising incomes for all Americans to make American life more affordable and American families more economically secure. They provide products, services, perks, benefits, tips, and tools to help members improve their financial lives. It's time to level up and make more money in this economy. We're talking getting rich. Now, this sweepstakes is giving away $50,000. You can use this to pay your rent, your mortgage. Imagine what you can do with all the money that you'll save. Now, this is put on by Work Money, and this site has all these sick benefits, and it's free. Go sign up right now and get more rich. Now, listen, you can change your life. Now, what would you do if you didn't have to pay your rent or mortgage for a year? Listen, sign up right now for free. A link is available right here in the show notes. Check them out. Personally, I'd get more pinball machines. I'm Jonny Fairplay. I wouldn't lie about that. It's Work Money. More money.
yeah, well, and it's so odd because then like Joker basically treats him how they were both treated at their old job of like being literally bullied and like basically makes him feel small, not no pun intended. And just and the confusing part, and then you have like Arthur having one of his like fantasies in his head, and it's literally like a
Oh, the
wedding between
acid
him and
trip.
Harley, and Gary Puddles is like his like best man, and I'm like, what? You just literally like terrorized this guy in the courtroom, and he was clearly was not your friend anymore. And I'm just confused.
That's
Like,
what drugs do. If you take acid every day, this is what happens.
But
yeah,
like, but that's because, like, Arthur has such a warped view of relationships because he's been abused so many times. So like, that's even like, I'm even like not horribly like upset about that, but just like in general, how is he allowed to be acting like that in court? Like, no judge would allow that. And like,
Right?
also, I mean, also,
What is your response? No judge would allow that.
no judge would allow that. But like, also, we're talking about a man who very clearly on TV killed somebody,
yes,
like
Right,
shot
like-
him in the head,
yeah,
and bragged
right,
about it.
right,
Like, very clearly, this is not up for debate. So like, this trial wouldn't, like, he would be coming in the orange jumpsuit every day. Like,
yeah, not
Like,
allowed
he
to wear
wouldn't-
his Joker suit.
right. And like, it just doesn't make any sense to such an extent that it like, ah, I'm out.
Yeah, it's very odd the directions they went with this movie. And then obviously, you have the followers blowing up the courthouse after he's literally said he's no longer the Joker. So it's like I don't know. And one thing I'll also say, like, they pepper in the DC references still because they want to like make us like tell everybody, oh, this is still a DC movie, right? So you have like Arkham or Gotham or whatever when they're doing like the La La Land fantasy. And then obviously Harvey Dent is in this, not as Two-Face until when the courthouse blows up and then you see half of his face is like seared. So like they very clearly are throwing in these references to make us be like, and then the Harley Quinn reference, obviously, but like it just doesn't work because I think they only have like a surface level like knowledge of
the entire film was just like engagement bait essentially. Like remember this from the other movie that was good? Remember the good movie? This one's not good, but remember the one we made that was good? Like
Well, and like the first one also seemed like it was happening in the world that Batman happened in, and it was someone else's perspective, right?
Yeah.
So like we're seeing this other side. Like we always see the Waynes as like these wonderful people, right? So like we're seeing somebody else's perspective that don't see the Waynes as these wonderful people, and like he meets young Bruce and like thinks that that's his brother, and like maybe that is his brother, and we're not really sure, and like we see things that are like, oh, like something, this is like another thing that was happening while we were watching this main story over here. And this doesn't feel like that anymore. Like it also doesn't work. So now it's just like, oh, here's Harvey Dent with a scratched face.
Yeah.
ooh.
Yeah. Like so that's frustrating. And like again, going back to like that ending, it would have made sense, right? So if you think about like Batman and Joker as being like opposites, right? And like the child who will become Batman is like a child in that first movie. So like there's obviously such a huge age difference that like, okay, that's not gonna work. So like you could also like as an ending make that make sense of like, oh, this person isn't actually the Joker that like this Batman fights. It's actually this other person who was trained by the Joker. Like you could do that, but like I don't think that that's what they were actually doing. Like I don't think that was an intentional choice on their, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, when that came together in post, they were like
Right, like that's a connection that like I can draw on my own. That's not something they intended, and that's annoying.
Yeah. Anything else? Are we ready to hit like we're gonna rank the Jokers, the live action Jokers, and then we're just gonna give Joker Folie Deux or Joker 2 a letter grade. So
I mean, is there any letter past like Z? Like
Can we give it a double F? Like
yeah. We'll get there in a minute. So with the Joker rankings, for my personal list, so I have Jared Leto in last, because it's Jared Leto and he was very, very bad. Jared Leto can't get a comic book movie character right at all. This and Morbius. Cesar Romero, I have at 4 because like,
I have him at 4 too. And like iconic portrayal, but just like I think the others that have come later have done a better job.
Yeah. It wasn't bad by any means. He's not Jared Leto at all. Like it's still represented the Joker, especially back in the 60s.
For sure. And it's just like you never forget like the roots of where something started or what the baseline was. Like you just hope that it gets better with time, and then sometimes it doesn't work, like we've seen some Batmans work, some don't. So yeah, it just depends. But I agree with that list so far.
And then 3, I have Joaquin Phoenix. I think the performance is great. At the same time, this doesn't feel like Joker anymore. I have to factor in both movies into as like one arc of this Joker, and it falls apart. So I can't put Joaquin Phoenix any higher. The reason he is this high is because of performance. So
I understand. I have to put him above Jack Nicholson just because that first movie, like he did portray that, like he just like when he's that talk show scene is so convincing and so well done, and like yes, it's uncomfortable, but like
It is meant to
intentionally
be.
so.
Yeah.
And like so well done that like I have to put him above Jack Nicholson.
And that's very fair. I feel like Jack Nicholson was the reason I have him a little higher is like it's still the Joker, but it is like this mobster version that still is like the goofiness of like the Cesar Romero Joker, and like it's I like the way it is, and Jack Nicholson was just really fun in that. But I think we know who's number one still. It has to be Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. And just like the way his performance was, just like everything with that it was still the Joker. You still have his relationship with Batman and just like it's so good. I mean, what more can we say about Heath Ledger?
It's
It's
so
pretty
good.
perfect. And it's also a lot to do with he was a method actor as well. So
Yeah.
like
Yes.
when he went into that role, he put himself into that dangerous headspace, and like, you know, you can walk on set, you're good, but when it's time to click, he's in it. And it's almost scary that he was able to do that like that. But just that movie, his portrayal of that is just bar none. Like I really don't think you could beat that. It just
He's such a criminal mastermind too.
exactly.
Like the way that he just fucks with the mobsters just to do it, just to get their money.
Yeah.
That's my
Right.
Yeah.
Like
You see
like
this
just
pencil?
because he can. Right. Like
Slams this guy's head. No, you don't.
I
Right.
love unnecessary violence.
right, I can make this pencil disappear. Like, but like the way that, like, and the way he like sets everything, like he sets up like the guy so that like when Batman goes to Japan, right, like he sets all that up on purpose. Like people keep falling into his traps, and it's just so well done.
Mhm.
And like
It's like almost reminiscent of like John Kramer from Saw, because it's like I always say this: if you're good at anticipating the human mind, it leaves nothing to chance, and like that's just kind of it. If you understand people, you can stay a step ahead, and that was what was so fun about that movie, is just watching him like outsmart everybody everywhere. You know?
yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's the Joker ranking. So now let's give a letter grade for Joker 2, Folie à Deux, and I'm going to give this an F. I really think this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It wasn't enjoyable, and like I can't have the few positive things I said can't put it up a letter grade for me, because if I don't enjoy a movie and I can't buy into what's going on, then I'm not gonna.
Right. If you're not willing to sit down, if you don't leave that movie thinking like, wow, like I can't wait to like rewatch this or watch it again, or you know, if it has no replayability, like it's you know, I mean, there's nothing about this movie that makes me want to watch it ever again. I'm pissed I watched it the first time. So
yeah, it's just not, it's not enjoyable. It doesn't have like a clear like message, theme, lesson. Yeah, like it, at least like I took something from the last one that was like, wow, like this made me uncomfortable, but I like and think this one, no, I do not want to think about this anymore.
Yeah. Didn't Todd Phillips just like go into like seclusion when this came out too? Like he's like not even...
he's like, oh, I made a poopsie.
Yeah.
This has to be intentional. This has to be intentional on his part to like just drive this in there. Like he didn't want to make this sequel.
The studio made him.
The studio made him, so this had to be intentional for him to just be like, I'm gonna take your money and I'm gonna ruin your franchise. Because like I like that's all I can think.
Well, and this makes me like glad I am a Marvel fan more than a DC fan, just because and like DC could be great. Like I think a lot of their stuff, like Batman, Superman, like Wonder Woman, these are iconic characters. It's just what Warner Brothers is choosing to do with the IP and with the movies, and it's just not working, and
right,
won't stop. So
we've started to see a little bit of it in Marvel. Like we started to see like with the Sokovia and stuff. That we started to see some, but like the big thing to me that like DC could do that like that's right there for them is to like have this like what is good and what is bad. Right, because like they're godlike characters, right? Like Superman, Wonder Woman, they're gods, right? Like they can do anything, and so like yes, they're like fighting for what's right, but then like, well, what is right? Like, who gets hurt? Who gets hurt in your path, right? And like, are you're fighting for this side, but is that side the right side? Like, you could have those like interesting conversations with DC characters so easily because you have these all powerful characters, right? Like, Marvel's doing something else. Marvel is not exploring who's really good and who's really bad. Like, they're like much more like silly and cartoonish, which is good. We love that. But like, they're more of the like, here are the heroes, here are the villains, fight. Right. So like, DC could be doing something else. And instead what they're doing is just like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. We'll see how James Gunn's like new DC universe does. I mean, that's gonna start with Superman.
Help direct
Yeah, he wrote the Scooby-Doo movies, obviously directed the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy and the new Suicide Squad and Peacemaker from the last couple of years. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I guess the new Superman will come out, and then I guess like DC's doing this Elseworlds thing, which is like these Joker movies are a part of, but it's like the second Batman with Robert Pattinson is also going to come out, and the Penguin just came out with Colin Farrell. So
I have not watched the Penguin. I've heard that it is good, but it's not like, it's like a good binge. It's not a good like week to week watch. So I haven't watched it.
yeah.
flex for someone who has half their body covered in penguins.
Well, and it's like, from what I've heard, it's not very like superhero-y. It's like it's good, but it's like the underworld of Batman. That's what I've heard. So I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard that it is good. So like, it's good to binge. So once it's all out, I'll binge it. Batman is probably going to be good because the first Batman was so good.
The first one was very good. So
we'll see about Superman.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not, at least like Henry Cavill was great as Superman, like one of the iconic portrayals of that character. But I don't like the direction that they took him in, and it's hard for me to like Superman because of that direction. But like if they do Superman right, obviously he's going to be great. So
Right. Well, Superman's like the first. He's the, you know what I mean?
The original superhero.
That's the guy. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like you really can't afford to fuck that up. You know?
Right. Exactly. I mean, this is
They might.
They probably will. But we can hope for something good.
But knock on wood.
All right. So with that, so next week our next show is going to be talking about villains. So we will kind of do like top 5 villains. I believe Kristen is going to hop back on with us as well.
Great. Cool. So excited for that.
Oh, Kristen's gonna be here. All right, I think I'm sick next week.
Ooh, you whore.
So yeah, it'll be favorite villains there, and then the last week of Halloween will be Venom 3: The Last Dance. So that will be the conclusion of Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock / Venom, which could go similarly as this, but at least it'll be stupid fun instead of I'm uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah, so like we'll have to see. So that'll be the plans for the rest of Spooky Month. So maybe we'll do a few bonus stuff thrown in on the main channel as well. So we'll talk about that. But without any further ado, we will see you all next time on the Tribe of Nerds.
Fuck you, Kevin.
Fuck you too, sweetie.
Thank you.